Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new, subscribe to our channel. Get on this journey and the European journey with us. Hit a like on this episode and comment your thoughts and your lineups in the comment section down below, or do it on our website and you can share your teams on social media. So let's go, Villa fans. Really excited. Can't wait for the game now. Absolutely buzzing about it. So what we're going to do on this episode, we're going to have a look at the Villa lineup. We're going to have a look at tactically how Hibs are going to set up, Hibs' style of play, etc. So let's get straight on in there then, Villa fans. So my predicted lineup for this game looks like this. Made a couple of changes. First of all, let the goalkeeper out. We'll have a little chat on the goalkeeper situation and where my thinking is at before we get into the detail of it then. So, for me, I am going with Emi Martinez for this one. I think there will be rotation in the cup competitions. For Olsen, Martinez can't play 38 Premier League games, around 8 or 9 Europa Conference League games if we get through, and the cup competition. So Olsen is going to play his part at some point. But I think I want to give a couple of players the first European game for Aston Villa in some time. And there's two players that I think are quite important to play in this game, and that is Martinez and McGinn. Not just because McGinn played for Hibs, but McGinn's the captain, he's the leader. I want to see McGinn in the side anyway. So I've gone with Martinez. We know the first away game to qualify for this competition, the main bulk of the group stage. This is potentially the banana skin game, the game where if anything's going to go wrong, it's probably going to be in this one. So I want to avoid that completely, and I'm putting Martinez in goal. He's spoke in the past about wanting to play for Aston Villa in Europe, etc. And I just think with his experience in competitions and winning trophies like the World Cup, he's crucial to playing this game for me. So I'm going Martinez in goal. And then this is my lineup, couple of changes. I've got Zaniolo in there. Hopefully he's available to play. I think it would be a great game for him to come in. So that is what my lineup looks like. So I'd love for you guys to share your teams on social media as well and go on our website and input them, and you can share them on Twitter as well. So let's just go into a little bit more detail now, and we can use the tactical pad to really have a look at where I think Villa's threats lie and why I've picked this team. So I've gone with Chambers at right back. I think Chambers will play in this game. I think there's no reason why Chambers cannot play in this game. I think it would give Matty Cash a bit of a breather and a bit of a rest going into the weekend's game. Yes, we want to go as strong as possible, but within reason, I think we can tweak, and I think we can have a look at sort of bringing in a couple of different personnel. Carlos and Pau, I'd rest Konsa. I think those two can get a bit of a partnership, a bit of an understanding. They're used to playing in European competitions and then playing on a weekend. I've gone with Luca Dean as well. Kind of feels like we're just playing Luca Dean until he leaves. So why not stick with that trend? Play Luca Dean until Moreno is back and hopefully Acuna comes in. So I've gone with Luca Dean in this one. I've gone with Tielemans sitting in as the deepest line midfielder. Luis came off early against Everton, so that tells me that potentially he is going to be playing in this game. McGinn, I'm going McGinn. I think McGinn has to play in this game for his midfield. His tenacity. I think he can absolutely run the show against Hibs. I've gone with Zaniolo out wide. We've got Diaby sort of sitting in and making that box midfield. And I've gone with John Duran up top. Again, we're quite light in striker options. It doesn't look like he fancies Archer at all. So going into this season, it is Duran and Watkins so far. Watkins has played the last 2 games. I don't think he needs to play against Hibs. I think we can put Duran in there. I think, again, Duran didn't have much of a pre-season. So this is a game where he can sort of get up to speed a little bit. He will have chances. I think he can take those chances. So I don't see why Duran cannot start this game. But if it's Watkins or if it's a Bailey in the side, then fair enough. But this is sort of what I would potentially go with. And I think Henry might go with as well. So, yeah, I think one observation that I didn't make after the game against Everton was the position of Diaby. Now, last season, what we were kind of seeing was we were seeing that this player here that sort of played off the striker, this player was actually being the winger. So it was the Bailey sort of owning that role around that position there. And he was the one that was sort of having to play as a winger, but then go in and supporting the striker. But what we saw against Everton was that Diaby was the one that was making that box midfield. And it was Bailey who was being the winger. So that was like a little observation that I made, whereas last season this was the striker, this was the player that went into that midfield area, and then this player would have to work around there. So really interesting to see that one sort of developed a little bit, and I think it enables Diaby and Bailey to have that partnership a little bit. So that's one thing to keep an eye on from the weekend's game. So if we have a little look now at how we expect Hibs to line up. So Hibs are going to line up with Marshall in goal, Hanlon and Fish at the back, Stevenson and Miller in the fullback areas, Newell and Levitt in central midfield. We've got Yuan and Boyle as the wingers. We've got Campbell and Vente up top. So what we can see from their lineup is that they play with a 4-4-1-1. It's a 4-4-2 when they are out of possession, and they can make up a 4-2-3-1 at times as well. So that's how their system's going to line up. I expect Villa to have the majority of the ball. I think we're going to look to dictate play. I think we're going to look to control the game. And I just think it's going to be a similar sort of setup to what we normally expect with Aston Villa. I think territorially, we're going to look to try and camp in their half, control the game. Hibs' threat lies out wide with Yuan and Boyle, very, very pacey wingers. So they are going to look to sit in. They're going to look to sit in with a mid to a low block and look to counter Villa on transition. And they have got players that have got pace, so it will be dangerous for us to, if we lose the ball. And I think in this game, it's about that mindset. It's about that intensity. It's about keeping the ball. It's about using possession, using it quickly, moving the ball around quickly, not allowing Hibs to settle, not allowing them to set, drifting them from left to right, moving them around. And I think that is how I look to see Aston Villa controlling the game. Another area where I think we're going to be controlling the game is with our defensive output when in possession. Against Everton, we really saw Pau Torres being that player that was dictating play. He was slowing the tempo down. He was moving the ball, looking for that right pass, and then he was going. So the ball into the left-hand side channel, it would be really, really important. The ball into central midfield, moving the ball quickly between Luis and Tielemans and McGinn, and then getting Durant moving around as well. But I think they leave a lot of gaps. They leave a lot of space. They are suspect on set pieces as well. So that's why I think having Durant in there, a little bit of a physical height, a little bit of physical presence will go down really well as well. So that's how I expect Villa to line up, and then that's how I expect Hibs to line up as well. So if we go to some of the slides then, so if we have a look at the shape of the Hibs side, as you can see here, they are sitting in a 4-4-2 shape. You've got the 2 strikers here. You've got 4 across midfield, and then you've got the defensive shape of a 4 as well. Again, here, one observation I made from them as well in the game against Lejeune is they like to get bodies forward. You can see Yuan here sort of trying to get on that back post area as well. So There was a lot of gaps for both sides in this game, so they do commit bodies forward. Again, it was against Lejeune, so we'll have to see how they do against Aston Villa. But like I was saying about the gaps, you can see here whose zone's that, the RB zone. There was a lot of sort of second phase opportunities where the ball comes in. They may sort of try and defend it quite well, but when it goes into that second phase, the space opens up and there's opportunities. And then here, another threat that I've got from Hibs is that they love a long throw into the box as well. So we've really got to be prepared for the long throws. I'm sure McPhee will be very, very aware of the long throw from Hibs. Now, this is an area where I think Hibs will be trying to look to hurt Aston Villa. When Aston Villa may potentially lose the ball, Johan is the man to pick up the ball out wide for Hibs and drive forward. The wingers for Hibs are the big threat. Again, another opportunity. Same player, Johan, looking to break through those lines there as well. And looking for that 1v1 opportunity. But the left winger is the one player that I would say is to watch out for. And then this was one of their last goals where they were kind of being battered at this point, that and they just went down the pitch and scored. But again, for the winger doing all the work and then knocking it into the striker. So you can see here that they have got sort of runners on the edge of the box as well. So yes, one player to make note of then, Villa fans, is Newell, the blue nose. He's the blue nose that hates the Villa. So he's going to be fired up for the game as well. I think that last screen grab was Vente, the striker, actually, not the winger. So if we have a little look at their strengths and weaknesses on who scored then. So their strengths are coming back from losing positions, protecting the lead, aerial duels, defending set pieces. Their style of play is to attack through the middle, attacking down the left, that's with Johan. Rotate their first 11 and play the offside trap. Their weaknesses is defending, is avoiding individual errors, avoiding fouling in dangerous areas, defending against skillful players, and defending counter attacks. So there we have it. I've done my best to try and bring you a little bit of a breakdown of the Hibs style of play and how they play. I imagine that they are just going to try and sit in, try and catch Villa on the counter attack. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good game. Hopefully, it's quite a competitive game. I think one thing as well that I'd like to touch on is this kind of recovery period. I think we've been done a favour by playing on the Wednesday night opposed to the Thursday night, because it gives us that extra game recovery. So I think that's really good as well. And it's just going to be good to see Villa in Europe. So thank you, everybody who watched our match preview. I think that one went down really well. Everybody really enjoyed it. A couple more screen grabs that I've got as well. As you can see, the average positions from Hibs in both games against Lejeune. The 4-4-2, as you can see, pretty solid across midfield. Committing the right back a little bit further forward. So maybe that's something that we can keep an eye on. And then you've got the last one, a little bit more of a defensive formation, but again, a 4-4-2, the number 10 going forward, the 9 and 19 up top. So similar sort of formation slash system slash setup, but I imagine Unai is far greater. So thank you, everybody who's watched this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It's nice to talk about a different team as opposed to a Premier League team as well. So we'll be back now on Wednesday evening, straight after the game, for our match reaction, and then we'll turn our attention to Burnley. So cheers, everyone. If you've got this far and you have liked it, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and comment your thoughts down below. Up the Villa.